And Spider-Man is going to win this because Yuri, he does the dark side. You know, he gets the symbiote suit and he gets real angry and he just shows range, which is what award shows love to give. It's almost like Ben Stiller in Tropic Thunder. You know, he went full something. Yuri went full. Yuri went full anger.
The interesting thing is that you could have said Yuri went full anger without ever having to reference Tropic Thunder. Hello and welcome to level 88 of the Thoughts and Players podcast, the gaming podcast with bold takes and no strings attached. I am Jeremy here with my two compadres. Of course, I have David.
What up?
And I have Corey.
What up?
Okay.
Nice.
Imitation is the greatest form of flattery, right? Isn't that the
sincerest?
Identity theft is not a joke, Jeremy.
Does Stanley have a mustache or not?
Oh, God. Yes.
Does he have a mustache? Jeremy, does he have a mustache?
Stanley who?
Jeremy.
Okay, we're done.
You're a nice guy, but sometimes you sound so pompous. Get out of here.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, chickens, ducks, and hens, we welcome you into level 88 of the pod. This pod, we're looking forward to it. We got regular topics, and we got one big topic that we're really looking forward to talking about. But of course, this is a conversational one. We're going to start off talking about the games that we're playing. This is a gaming podcast after all. So let's talk about what we've been playing. I can start first. If anyone else wants to volunteer, you can go ahead. But otherwise, I can take a point as the military and police.
Go ahead.
Okay. All righty. So games I've been playing. Well, I am glad to say a couple of things. Your boy has conquered the Forza. So done with Forza Motorsport 7. Great experience. Great racer. They've added a bunch of stuff, not a bunch of stuff, but they made some updates that definitely helped improve the game. But overall, really good experience. Don't play a lot of multiplayer, and I think I remember reading an article before that said 95% of Forza players don't play online. It's because online in any racing game is kind of a dumpster fire. People are T-boning you, they're just crashing into you at the first turn, trying to take you out. It gets a little crazy. But other than that, I've got all the exotics. I've got my muscle cars, going with the Ford Mustang, obviously, coming in with a Chevy Camaro, getting a bunch of Audis, a bunch of different. I got my McLaren, obviously, you know what I'm saying? Doing it big style. So I've been playing that, beat that. The other game I've been playing, I don't know if I mentioned it before, that I was playing Stardew and I needed to get away from Stardew because it was taking up too much time. So then I started playing Shadow of War. Still playing Shadow of War on my Steam Deck. Having a good time with it. Put about 10 hours into that game so far. Trucking along, killing orcs, having a blast.
That was like a $5 special, right?
Yes. Yeah.
You got your $5 worth for sure already.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Yeah. That game definitely worth it now more than before when it first came out, and they were trying to just sling loot boxes at you left and right. So been playing that, but then also the other game that I've been glad to get back to. Your boy's back in Final Fantasy 16.
Let's go.
Really?
And I am trucking along.
Tell me.
With great pace. Yeah.
What have you done? What's the last thing you've done? Spoilers. Let's hear spoilers. This game's been out for months now. You can talk about whatever you want. What has happened? What has transpired to Clive?
So I am currently Clive, who I'm going by a different moniker now in honor of someone, right? And I am currently trying to end this feud with Hugo. So I am in my search to find him again. Okay, so that's where I'm at. I'd asked my girlfriend for reference before of how long I've got to go. She said quite a ways.
About halfway, maybe a little less than halfway. Two things that name in honor of. That was actually surprising to me. I did not expect what happened. I guess you should expect it, but I did not. And the Hugo thing, I would say that was the very, very first extremely epic part. The game's already had a few epic moments for you, I'm sure, where it's just wow, this is great, this is huge, this is incredible.
Yeah.
Hugo was like the first where I'm like, wow, how did they ever top this? And then they top it, and then they top that thing they topped it with, and they top it again. So very, very excited for you to like finish this game. Hopefully we get another update next episode.
So what was the most surprising? Was it the boss fight with Hugo? You're saying like that's like where the thing.
Yeah, that's like so most of these things for me, like the epicness has been the boss fights.
Mm-hmm.
And you've already seen a couple of them, and you see how like big they are and how much like just gravitas they have to them. And Hugo felt like the first one that was just so gigantic and incredible. I'm like, man, nothing like it's hit its peak, but it does not. Like I'm telling you, the next one's going to surpass it, and I believe the next one after that surpasses it. And then it kind of stays at a certain level, but still just incredible.
Yeah, I'll say, and again, I mean, spoiler alert, whatever. I mean, the game's been out for a little bit, so whatever. The narrative beat I was not expecting, right? You go in there, you play him, he has his different phases, you beat him, okay, understand him, right?
Yeah.
The cutscene happens, and I'm expecting, okay, like every other cutscene, I'm gonna finish him off, and then whatever's gonna happen, right? But then the cutscene keeps going. Hugo's starting to get the better of my character, and I'm like, oh, they're gonna do some kind of lame reset where it's like not quite like you got to go back and find him, whatever, which they kind of did. But the fact that, I mean, Clive cuts his hands off.
Yeah, and that's like Hugo's whole thing. His fist. It's like they take a lot of inspiration from Game of Thrones. It's like a Jaime Lannister moment. Take this guy whose entire identity is his fist. With Jaime Lannister, it was using his sword hand.
Right.
Take that away, and how does a character react to that? And Hugo does not take it well. You haven't gone back to him yet, I'm assuming. Then
I have reached where he's. So I guess Drake's Fang is the next one after.
You got to play it. You got to play it as soon as we're done, man. Like you're right there then.
Well, look, I mean, got some time with the holiday coming up. You know what I'm saying? Final Fantasy is going to occupy some space of that. But that's mostly what I've been playing, man. And I tell you what, like, both, again, I was hesitant to jump back into Shadow of War. I was somewhat leery to jump back into Final Fantasy 16 because maybe I don't have the same feeling, the same inertia, the same momentum like I had before. These games have fit like a fine, worn glove.
Yeah.
It just feels like it took me like 2 or 3 minutes to kind of remember the controls of Final Fantasy 16, and then I was just back at it. I'm going at people. Clive every 2 seconds is yelling "Sick 'em, Torgal," right? So like I'm back in it. I'm into it. You know what I'm saying?
And like I really do love Clive, man. Like as you said, he takes the namesake of a character, and you really see him develop as like a leader of people. Which for Final Fantasy games, a lot of times you'll see someone develop like the leader of a group, like the band of merry men, where it's like 5 or 6 people where you're like, I'm the leader. No, this guy's taking an entire like distressed community and raising it up. And it's really, really cool to see that journey. So I'm excited for you to talk more, have more updates on that.
Yeah. And like just the way that game like outwardly wears themes of like classism and kind of like a caste system and different things like that, and how it navigates it is really interesting. And like you definitely empathize with the characters. But that's finish it off with 16. That's what I've been playing.
Hey, what a good little update from Jeremy. David, can you hit us up with as good of one?
It's not as good. I was playing a lot of Apex because they had a event going on called 3 Strikes. So usually when your team of 3 dies, it's game over, that's match. But in this one, you have 3 times to die. So if your whole squad is wiped, you got 2 more chances. So it's been a lot of fun, and you respawn with everything you had except loot crate items. So good times, really changes it up, especially when you're sitting there trying to fight somebody and you have 3 teams out of nowhere come charging you from the air. It's just very hectic, very fast paced. But I have been playing Alan Wake 2, which is very different from me, There's not really chapters or nothing, at least from what I've seen so far, but I've played for about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. It's very good. Graphics are nice. The story is great so far. I've already had, some surprises. I'm definitely going to keep playing that one.
Yeah,
that's what I'm
sure it looks great on your computer. I'm sure it looks amazing on your computer. I've also been playing Alan Wake 2, so if I could jump on with you and just kind of discuss it with you for a second.
Yeah.
All the things you said, yeah, that's 100% true. I'm having a little bit of trouble of like how obtuse it kind of is. Like I don't need hand holding in my games, but it feels like there's sometimes very, very little direction at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like you were stuck in a part and I was like saying like, hey, you have to go back to like, was that one of the cases where you had to go back to that board and like fit things on it?
No, I looked everywhere but the one spot where I needed to go. But also, yeah, you have your partner. I wouldn't know where to go if it wasn't for that partner that just is going where you need to go.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I just get completely lost.
And like I said, I like it so far. I'm trying to get to the point where I see where it's like a game of the year contender. I haven't got there yet where I'm like, oh man, this game is definitely game of the year. I do have a few small issues. Another one I have, which I think you'll like realize a little bit later. There's a lot of small backtracking, which is very weird to me because I'm not used to that. Like I'm going in this level and I'm going forward and it's like I get to a dead end. I'm like, well, what do I do now? Where do I got to see? And like I said, I'm going against all the walls, seeing if I can click anything or find anything. And it's like, oh no, now that you've gone this far, you got to go back about like 40 feet and do something there that you've already done. Just really weird to me. So story's cool. I really like the like small time murder mystery, like okie dokie cops, everything's kind of like weird. Like that, like I'm sure you talked to her, but in the diner, the waitress that talks to you, and it's like she knows the detective, but the detective has no clue who she is, and she talks about her daughter drowning, and it's like, my daughter hasn't drowned, how do you even know me, first of all, but my daughter is safe, and it's like, that's interesting to me. So yeah, Alan Wake 2, I'm a play through it, I hope. But another game I want to talk about that I've been playing is Super Mario RPG. I just go through these games like no one's business. Super Mario was last week. Super Mario Wonder was last week. Now it's on the Super Mario RPG. And let me tell you guys something, all right? The last game that made me feel like this, I think, was Ghost of Tsushima, where I had very little interest. I wanted to play it because it's a super classic, and
yeah,
I pre-ordered
it and loved it.
Yeah, what, the new one or the old one?
The new one.
Both. The new one, okay.
But
yeah. It's a super classic. Never played it back in the day, but I had expectations of it's going to be a very simple RPG, and it's Mario, so it's not going to be difficult. It's not going to be involved. I've played some of the later, like Mario and Luigi RPGs, and they were okay. But this game is awesome. I cannot believe how much I'm loving it. And that's why I compared it to Ghost of Tsushima, because back then I was like, I'll get it, but I'm not too like intrigued by it. But yeah, this game's been wonderful so far. I cannot believe they give the Mario characters so much personality. This is the most personality I've ever seen Mario have. He's very emotive. He doesn't talk in this game either. There's no voice acting, but they do like lines of dialogue. He doesn't talk, but he acts out all his stuff. In one of the beginning scenes, he's trying to tell the Toads what happens, and he turns himself into Bowser, and he reenacts the entire first scene, which is really goofy. There's just a bunch of these really, really goofy moments, and even the combat's been a lot of fun. Like I said, I thought it was going to be a simple RPG, and it mostly is. There's not like a huge like design choices that like make it stick out from other RPGs, but there are a few that I really want to touch on for a second and like kind of praise. Now, the Mario RPGs are known for like, if you time your attacks right, you can get bonus hits, right? Like that's in Mario and Luigi and all that stuff. But the cool part about it is, at first you have like a hammer and you get used to that timing pretty quick. It's not an issue at all. And if that was the whole game, I would have had it figured out. But Mario gets more items that actually do change his attacks. The next thing I got was a Koopa Shell. And the whole timing of that changes. And I get magic where things change. And it's just, that's fun trying to like piece together the timing of the attacks and getting all these like bonus hits. And I don't know, it's just a fun game. I've been kind of going through it. The boss fight was kind of fun where like the guy takes away certain buttons that you can press by random. So he takes away my attacks. So now I have to use magic or items, and he takes away my items. And I died a couple times. It was pretty good strategy. Really cool.
That's
really fun.
Creative.
Looks great. Looks fantastic. Almost like a toy-like quality. I had another thing to say, but That one I will definitely also be. My son loves it. He asked for it. He loves Bowser, so he's I want dinosaur. So yeah, Super Mario RPG. Super pleasantly surprised with that one.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, very happy with it.
I mean, the sounds like the Switch is giving us some life in the games towards the ends of it.
Yeah,
it's
really
its
been
first iterative
pumping
life
some good
cycle, I
ones.
guess. Yeah,
For sure. And like this game has already made me decide to buy the Paper Mario 1,000-Year Door.
Yeah.
Like, because I heard that was, we just went over the GameCube one, and that was like up there for like the best GameCube game,
Mhm.
Yep, it was, yeah.
So like, I was on the fence about it. This one's so good. That's kind of a continuation of that. I know different art style, but yeah, I'm going to pick that up as well next year.
Just a brief, that's great. Just a brief mention because you kind of said it when we talked about the GameCube one, and I remember, David, how much you absolutely hate the graphics of the PlayStation 1. Disc replay, Black Friday deal, PlayStation 1's $25.
$25.
If you're feeling nostalgic and you want to go back to the game system that has arguably some of the worst graphics ever put out by a game system, they're handing them out $25 each.
The system is $25.
Yeah,
I am going.
yeah.
Really?
Well, I mean, I do have the PS3 that's backwards compatible, so I guess I don't need to.
You don't need to, but if you
But it
want
would
the
be
legendary
nice.
gray box,
It would be nice to have that gray box.
Yeah.
a little white with a little PS1, that'd be pretty dope too. It's a nifty little thing. Well, like I said, so yeah, for sure you're locked. I'm assuming all along, Corey, you're locked in for Switch 2, right?
Yeah.
Is it going to be a trade? Like, are you going to trade your original Nintendo Switch for the Switch 2? Is it just going to be an additional acquisition? What are you thinking?
I might. Like, here's the thing. When I get new systems, I don't really go back to my old ones at all.
Okay.
Like I won't need to trade in my Switch to buy the Switch 2. I can save the money up and stuff, but there probably just won't be much of a use for it. Now, if Nintendo comes out and says, hey, none of your digital stuff transfers, it's not even backwards compatible, then you would probably see me holding on to it, which, knowing Nintendo, they might.
That's a very Nintendo thing.
Right.
Yeah.
They might, especially the digital transfers, like PlayStation and Xbox have done it right. Like now. It took them a while. It took them a long while, but this last couple generations, hey, every game you buy is now it's like Steam. You buy a game 15 years ago, it probably works today and you can play it.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully Nintendo does that. Then I'll feel okay trading it in.
Nice.
How about you? Are you sold on it?
Switch 2? I don't know, man. You got Tears of the Kingdom. There's a couple other games that's, happening out there. Hopefully, the digital purchases transfer too, because I think the game that I played the most on my Switch isn't even a Nintendo game. It's freaking Stardew Valley.
Right.
But like, if that would transfer over, then, that's cool. But I'm also not worried about it because I have Stardew Valley on Steam. I can play it on my Steam Deck. But
right.
Okay. It's just, I don't know. I think so, though.
Okay.
Yeah. David, any interest in Switch 2?
No.
I feel you.
Honestly,
I tried for the Switch. Like, I got the Pokemon Snap, I got Pokemon Arceus, I got one of the Mario sport games.
Right, you played and beat Hyrule Warriors, didn't you?
I actually, I did.
Yeah.
I played that with my son and beat it, but I don't know. It just doesn't hold my interest like it used to in the day.
You're telling me that 1080p 60 frames per second doesn't get you excited?
It's not even that. Like, I don't mind that it doesn't have the highest quality of graphics. I don't know. I just, if I want to look down and play something, I'm just on my phone.
A good point. I mean, Switch 2 has some stuff to like kind of figure out. I think the Joy-Cons feel incredibly cheap. They are not a good controller. They're not. You get two of them, so you can play like simple 2-player games, but like I want something nicer than that. I want definitely better graphics, even though I like the graphics on the Switch for the most part. They're big games besides Pokemon. They look good. The Marios, the Zeldas of the world, stuff like that. They always look good anyway.
Yeah,
so.
and that panel, that's the one thing I'm thinking about. That panel's got to be better. When you've got freaking, Rogue Allies and I forgot the other one, the Legion Pro or whatever. They're running like 1080p, 144 hertz panels.
Yeah.
Like you can't. I mean, you
can't get away with it now that
yeah,
the
only
Steam
for
Deck
so
has
long.
come out. The Steam Deck came out, and then everything else came out.
Yeah.
Right. They didn't
You
really
can't
have
get away.
competition.
Right. You can't
100%.
get away with putting out something weaker or less than those systems now, especially since your system's not coming out for another year.
Right. Yeah. The whole thing of the Switch, right, was console gaming mobilely, right?
Mhm.
And now everyone else is caught up with it. Heck, freaking PlayStation, what is it, Portal.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another thing that's out there where it's like, oh, I can play, Spider-Man 2 on, whatever, like around the house or wherever. If I can do like a remote entry, they gotta, hopefully, I have hope that they come up with something interesting, but I don't know. But let's move on to the main topic. And the main topic is, I don't know if everyone knows, listeners, if you know, if you care, we're going to talk about it. Game Awards is coming up. That's right. If you're saying, hey, is it that thing that killed E3? Yes, it is. And and it will be showing December 7th. I think it's like 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. like Pacific. I don't know sometime, but it's the 7th. Which is Thursday. So obviously they have a bunch of different categories. I think 20 or something, it feels like. We wanted to go through and just kind of give our predictions. Not so much what we think should get an award, even though I'm sure that we'll probably mistakenly do that for a couple of these, but just our predictions of who's going to win, what game is going to win, what category. And like I said, they have about 20, 30, 50. We have boiled it down to 9 that we believe are the most important or the most essential. So, I mean, we'll preview the categories we're going to go through.
Okay.
Best RPG, we're going to look at that. Best action game, best indie game, best ongoing game, which I guess is basically just games as a service game. Best performance, so like that would be like acting performance in the game. Best score and music, best art direction, best narrative, and of course the game of the year. So that's what we're going to preview and look forward. Look throughout and see what we got here. So, gentlemen, I mean, how are you feeling? Are we ready to go through this list?
I'm ready. I'm excited.
Ready as I'll ever be.
Okay, so predictions. Let's give our predictions for best RPG, huh?
Okay. And the nominees are.
And the I can also the nominees are Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16, Lies of P, Sea of Stars, and Starfield.
Yeah,
Now,
that's a good list, right? Like we're okay with that list?
Kind of have to be.
Well, I mean,
it's the list.
I mean, if you're an RPG fan and you're presented those 5 games, like that's a good variety. That's
the thing. I've heard Lies of P like maybe one time. The Seas of Stars, I haven't heard at all, but the other 3 I've heard many occasions.
Here's a quick question. Okay, we're trying to just do predictions. I feel like we're trying to be journalists right here, and I can't help but editorialize a little bit.
Okay.
Does Lies of P, does it feel like, hey, we need a Souls-like?
No, I think that was reviewed pretty well, and like everyone agreed that it was like the best Souls-like that was not a Souls game. So
yeah, but I mean, like it doesn't. What I'm just asking, is it going to be a thing now? Like the RPG genre needs a Souls-like, needs either a Souls or a Souls-like for every entry now?
I don't think so. Now I haven't played Lies of P, but it's got a lot of good stuff going for it.
I've heard nothing but really good things about it.
Right. And like the concept itself is super cool. The Pinocchio as the main character.
Yeah.
And telling lies or telling the truth, and just having like from other people talking about it, like kind of like going through the Pinocchio movie, but in like a weird way, like one of the bosses like a donkey or something, and it's just got like this Victorian. It's almost like the Bloodborne 2 that we never got. So I think, and like I don't know how deep the RPG elements are in this game, but yeah, I think it definitely deserves to be up here based on word of mouth. Now my issue My issue is, and it's not even an issue. It's just Final Fantasy 16 does not feel like an RPG to me at all. At all. Not one iota.
I can see that.
Not one iota.
See that. Yeah.
It did not feel like an RPG. You buy weapons and you buy armor and you can buy like an amulet. But your stats, you don't have any kind of like engagement with them. You don't choose how you're going to like raise your character or what they're going to do. Like, I guess you get skills. But that's in every game. Every game, you pick and choose what skills you want to have on your character. So
that's how it feels like. It's kind of in the gray area of an action game with RPG elements, because you can improve your weapons, and that alters your damage output, right? Your armor. So you can like modify some things, and obviously you can invest your skills into your abilities or whatever like that, right? So like
I was doing that in Spider-Man 2. like I said, every game feels, I'm sure it's Jedi. I haven't played this either, but Star Wars Jedi Survivor, based on the first one, that one had RPG elements comparable to Final Fantasy 16.
With if we're looking at it like that way, one could make the argument then that the old game prototype fits the RPG.
Right.
And it doesn't. I understand. Yeah, I understand that.
But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because there's only one choice to be had anyways in this category, right?
You think so?
That's Starfield, like the great savior of Xbox, finally came through.
I don't even know how this is on here.
They had to put 5. They had to put 5.
But I mean, obviously Diablo 4.
Yeah, wow, Legacy. That didn't make it.
No.
Wow, Diablo 4 did not make it. I wonder if they don't. Diablo 4 didn't really make anything, huh?
No.
Wow. No. I'm just noticing. Wow.
I mean, what else? There's, there's other ones that are like, I mean, the Lords of the Fallen didn't review that well, but it was an improvement on the other one. You had Wo Long Fallen Dynasty. I feel like that got pretty decent reviews. Atlas Fallen was garbage. I mean, there's like other RPGs here that I look at this and I'm like, well, this was more like, I feel like Diablo 4 and Diablo 4 and Hogwarts Legacy, I think critically were received way better than Starfield.
Yeah, I would. Hogwarts. Did either of you two play? No, Jeremy, you played that, right? Or no?
No,
that was just your girlfriend.
Yeah.
And David, you did not. I didn't really think of that as an RPG either. I don't know. I think of RPG of having like.
Is it more of an RPG than FF16
Final Fantasy 16? Maybe, but like I said, that's such a small, hill that you have to climb over. That.
Well, hold on. Well, so anyway, let me backtrack it because we're actually doing what we weren't going to supposed to. Right. Predictions of who's going to win this category.
Baldur's Gate 3.
I was going to say Baldur's Gate. From everything that I've heard about it,
it seems like a lot.
We could have saved 5 minutes. I apologize.
Yeah. No, you're good. You're good. I mean, it's a good conversation to have. You know what I'm saying? But like, I feel like that feels like. Not only do I think it may have earned it, but it also feels like something that they would pick. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like we're going through predictions. You got to kind of judge us like how you judge the Academy. What type of movie would the Academy choose? And you can kind of get a feeling for what they'd go for. So I think Baldur's Gate 3. Do we have a surprise here? Is Lies of P the dark horse?
I think
does it
Sea
have
of
a
Stars.
possibility?
I think Sea of Stars is.
Okay. Yeah.
Sea of Stars was the what's the word for it? The topic we did the other day. It was Chrono Trigger. Like it was Chrono Trigger, but not Chrono Trigger. What do we call those again? What do we call those, Jeremy? I got brain fog.
I don't know. I can't remember.
When they make a game based on a previous game, but they don't have like the
spiritual successor.
Spiritual successor. Thank you. It's like the spiritual successor to like Chrono Trigger. That's what I've heard. It's an indie game. Indie games tend to do really well in award shows. Mm-hmm. Because they're just thought of as so much better than they should have been. So 100%. That feels like my dark horse.
Okay, got you. Dave, do you have a dark horse? What's your second option?
I don't.
Okay.
I guess based on what you guys were saying, it could be Lies of P.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's weird. My dark horse. Yeah.
Starfield wasn't reviewed
well at all.
Amazingly.
Yeah.
By most people, it was very back and forth.
Middling reviews, I would say, Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Best RPG. We think BG3's got it locked though.
Yes,
we think
sir.
so. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Next category. We're going best action game. And this is a very interesting lineup right here. So best action game, we've got Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon, Dead Island 2, Ghost Runner 2, Hi-Fi Rush, and Remnant 2. How are we feeling predictions are going to go for this?
You said this was an
hard.
interesting one?
I think it's an interesting one.
I think
because,
so too.
Yeah. Again, this is again like some games that I wouldn't perceive maybe as being on this list, but they are.
Right. Hi-Fi Rush had a wonderful reception when it came out early in the year, where people were just like over the moon about it for like a week.
Yeah.
And then it was never heard of again.
100%.
So, and then Ghost Runner just came out. Ghost Runner 2 just came out. And that looked fantastic. It looked like it improved upon the first one. The first one was kind of like beloved by a few people. This one, from the trailers I watched, looks awesome. Awesome. So I could see something like that winning as well. Dead Island 2, did that make a splash? I feel like
middling reviews. That's the one I'm really
like,
confused on.
I feel like I didn't hear much about it at all. Like,
yeah, I feel like a lot of
6.5s
to 8s, maybe. Like, you know, they kind of range, you know.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I think Armored Core 6 takes
I think
it.
Armored Core. Look,
I can't.
The critics
I've heard a lot of good things about Remnant too.
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah. Like I almost bought it, but I'm broke.
Yeah.
But my
that's
brother
that's because you get off work so early.
I know.
8 o'clock. I mean, come on, push it to 9 or 10, can you?
I wish. Not really.
You said your brother plays that one?
Yeah. He's a fan of it.
Is that a Souls-like as well?
I'm not sure, but I know that people have complained about the difficulty.
Sounds like a Souls-like.
Because they clapped back.
I don't see a game award show where From Software doesn't win an award. They tend to win a lot of awards. So
yeah,
I think this is one of the few categories it's nominated in. So yeah, they're going to win it.
I think it's Armored Core, but Hi-Fi Rush is the dark horse.
I think Ghost Runner 2 is probably the dark horse, just because of how new it is. You know, it's going to be in a lot of people's thoughts.
Recency bias. Yeah, yes, I can hear that
for sure.
It takes many cakes.
Yeah. Alrighty, we're moving from best action to best independent game. We have Cocoon, Dave the Diver, Dredge, Sea of Stars, and Viewfinder. Now, this is an interesting one here. No, the other one was interesting, I said, but this one is also still
They're all interesting.
Because, like you said, you have Sea of Stars, which is, very well received. A lot of people are loving it. And then you have Dave the Diver, which had a bit of he got in the zeitgeist a little bit, right?
Yeah.
You know, Dredge, I'm not too familiar with.
Dredge is the fishing game where you captain a ship and you can upgrade your ship, and it gets a little freaky. Like there's like Lovecraftian type monsters that you eventually start catching and stuff. Gotcha. Very cool concept.
Yeah.
Well, what I think is a cool concept, if this is the game I think it is, Viewfinder, isn't that the one you put the pictures in it and it creates whatever it is, and that's how you get through the levels and stuff?
Yeah.
That is an really amazing concept. I've seen the trailer and I loved it. That very, very, I guess, quirky. I don't know, like who thinks of that concept and then initiates it?
Sad Owl Studios.
Yeah,
Sad Owl Studios did.
Well done, Sad Owl.
With Wonderful Publishing. Yeah.
Yes.
And then, of course, we have I don't know if it's like really was that big, but we have Cocoon there, which was created, I believe, by the lead designer at Playdead Studios. Playdead.
Really?
Right? The people who did Limbo and Inside. This is their
interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So you kind of have like a little bit of pedigree there, you know. But that's a really interesting game. I planned to play it. I didn't get a chance to play it anything, that because I was trying to beat and play other games, but that is on Game Pass, so I was going to check it out. I mean, when I saw that, hey, it's from the lead designer of Limbo and Inside, I'm like, oh, I'm going to either really love or really hate this game. Either way, I'm going to beat it for sure. So yeah, that's there. I don't know.
I feel like this year for me especially has been really low. Like indies have been really low on my priority list.
There's been so many good AAA and AA
there's been
games.
so many big long games, that I just don't have time to like fill them in with these indies. But like I've never heard of Cocoon before today, but the other four, like I do want to get eventually, So if I had to pick a winner, like which one do I want to get first? I guess it's Sea of Stars.
Yeah.
It made the RPG list. That kind of tells me that it's already
what I was gonna say. Like I think Sea of Stars is gonna win because it was just on another list
100%.
with bigger games.
100%. Yeah.
Right. So if it can throw punches with those bigger guys, then it can handle this crowd.
It can handle the indie. Yeah. I think Sea of Stars gets it. Yeah, I think Sea of Stars gets it.
And I'll give my dark horse to Dredge because I just really like the concept and I do really want to pick that one up eventually.
Yeah. My dark horse goes to Cocoon for I guess Legacy, right? That idea.
Okay.
I'll go with Viewfinder just because
it's a cool concept.
You're not going to play another game like it.
100%.
No bad games there though. That's
exactly.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Really strong category. We're going to move on to best ongoing game. Now, Game Awards has.
Would you say this is an interesting list?
Not really, no.
Oh, really?
Okay. I think it's interesting they just have it named best ongoing and not best ongoing game. That's kind of weird. But yeah, the 5 games for this entry is Apex Legends, Cyberpunk 2077, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and Genshin Impact. So what do we? I mean, I think I know where I'm leaning. Mm-hmm. The DLC and final updates for Cyberpunk 2077 were so well received.
I was just saying that it deserves to be up there, but I don't know if it's gonna win.
I feel like that may tip it in the direction of Cyberpunk, because they were so well received and there was so much made about them. So I think maybe it goes. I'm predicting it goes to Cyberpunk 2077. Even though I'm also struggling. Again, this is besides the point, to categorize Cyberpunk 2077 as an ongoing game. That feels weird to me.
Right, because it's not. It's a one-time ongoing thing. It's a one-time, but it's not
a live service game.
Right.
Yeah.
And what about Final Fantasy 16? What is up with that?
No, 14.
Oh, 14. I am dyslexic apparently. Never mind.
That's the MMO.
That's that makes a lot more sense.
Which is cool for it because it's been going since the PS3 days. I bought it for the PS3 back in the day. Played it for just a little bit, but yeah. David, did you have a pick for this?
You guys know what I want to win, but honestly, I think Fortnite is going to win. There's just the following behind it is so big still, and I don't hear many complaints of the gameplay, or I don't even know if it has competitive, but I don't hear complaints of much from that game.
Yeah, I mean it's constantly updating, giving fans
100%.
what they want. They just brought back the original map, so you can definitely see like the fervor for the game, like kind of like reaching its peak right now again, with everyone kind of coming back to it. But my prediction is, Jeremy, you hit on everything about Cyberpunk 2077. The one thing I would like to add that I think might help it is when it originally came out, it wasn't nominated for awards because it had so much wrong with it in terms of
garbage.
The glitchiness. It wasn't garbage. It was actually a good game, but it just had so much issues. So they didn't have a chance to crown it back then. Even though you could see at its bones, it was a great game. They didn't have a chance to crown it. They couldn't crown it. So now
they want to give it flowers.
This is their opportunity, to be like, hey, we couldn't do it. It was just it was too messy, but now we can. Now we can award you because we actually did enjoy playing this game.
Yeah.
And then I would say Fortnite for a second place if anyone were to take it.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like my dark horse would actually be Apex, but
really,
yeah.
It has been going for 4 years now.
They've been doing a lot of like interesting things with it and like keeping it going, and I mean, I feel like Apex is a little bit of a sexier pick than Fortnite. I feel like Fortnite may be too on the nose, but we don't know. It may be, they may pick it because of that.
Yeah.
Let's move on to best performance. We're talking about individual voiceover acting. So we've got 6 nominations here. So we have Ben Starr for Final Fantasy 16.
He plays Clive, right?
I would assume that he voices Clive.
I'm actually going to look it up just to make sure.
Yes, let's look that up. Is this the guy that's saying Sikkim Torgal every 2 seconds when I'm fighting? Cameron Monaghan, who voices the main protagonist for Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Idris Elba, who voices the
I believe a villain.
Yeah, the antagonist for Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty.
Right.
Melanie Liebert, who voices a character in Alan Wake 2. Is that the
What's her name, David?
The
What's
FBI?
her name? What's her name?
I couldn't tell you, right? I'm so bad at that.
Saba?
Is she like she's not like your partner in it, is she? Or
no, I think she's
Jim, that's interesting. She's the main character.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It's a different game. It's 2 parts, 2 protagonists in that one, and she is definitely the other one. I think her name's like Saba or something.
Okay. There's Neil Newbon for Baldur's Gate 3. And
Which he would definitely play Asteria, because everyone loves Asteria. He is I can't remember what role he is, but yeah.
And then there's Yuri Lowenthal for Marvel's Spider-Man 2. I will say, just extra note, because I'm getting a little bit irritated by it. Game Awards, put the name of the characters under the names next time, please.
Yeah,
it just says Ben Starr, Final Fantasy 16. From what Final Fantasy? Is it Clive? Is it Sid? Is it Hugo? Who is he?
That's why I had to look it up, because I was thinking man, Sid could have easily made this list. Like Sid,
if you're gonna nominate them for their performance with the character, can you at least put the name of the character? That seems obvious.
Yeah,
that's
so. I like this list. I like this list a lot. Now I played 1, 2. I played 4 of these games, and I'm familiar with the other 2. The other 2 are actually very famous regular actors as well.
Yep.
Yeah,
so I kind of know what they're about. But I'm interested to hear what you guys think. Who should win this? Who do you think will?
Who do I think will win this?
This is a tough one.
I think who will win this will be Idris Elba.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't think it's just to get the biggest star on stage, do you?
Yeah.
Really?
Because again, this is a little bit of inside baseball. I think the critical area in these different areas, in these different opportunities and critics, whatever, I think they're still in the process of trying to legitimize gaming. And so I think that naming a best performance to an actual like Hollywood actor is just their kind of idea of further legitimizing it. Like, hey, look at this big, Idris Elba, we're going to award him. It kind of felt like the whole love affair with Keanu Reeves. It was just like another thing to like legitimize gaming as a venue for actors to put on their chops and express themselves. And we're real actors voice over games now. We're real or we're legitimate. So I feel like that's where it might go. But Dark Horse is Cameron Monaghan.
Really?
Yeah.
For the same reasons?
I know. I just think like I think he's really just kind of elevated that series, like the Jedi, like Star Wars Jedi, series. Like he's just helped bring that character along and make it something that they can really rely on being like a viable franchise. So
interesting. Okay. David, how about you?
Well, I'm thinking with how many nominees it has, I think it could be Melanie.
Yeah.
Wow.
You have to put on a good show to be nominated in multiple categories, And
so far, she's been really good in that game.
Yeah.
I do have to ask you, because we discussed it earlier. Does it feel like the voices are a little off, though? Like, she does a good performance, but does it feel like they're recording and there's a little bit of an echo or something in your game? Like, it feels not like 100% Gucci? Or is that just me?
it,
Like, listen to it next time you play. It feels a
I'll
little
have
bit
to.
like they're in a garage, and you can kind of just listen to it next time. She does a wonderful performance, though. Mic issues are not her fault. She does do a good performance. Do you have a dark horse, David?
It'd be weird. I mean, it could be Marvel Spider-Man, because that was reviewed very well. You loved the game,
I did.
Who does Yuri voice?
He voices Spider-Man.
He voices Peter Parker?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess there's 2 Spider-Man. Sorry.
Right. Yeah.
Miles is every bit as Spider-Man as Peter Parker. So,
but with more
I'm not one of those.
Swagger.
I'm not one of those guys. All right. On Reddit, there's a whole big discussion. I'm not one of those guys. Miles.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
He's Spider-Man. And Spider-Man is going to win this because Yuri, he does the dark side. He gets the symbiote suit and he gets real angry and real aggressive. And he just shows range, which is what award shows love to give. They love to give range, and it's almost like Ben Stiller in Tropic Thunder. He went full something. Yuri went full Yuri went full anger.
The interesting thing is that you could have said Yuri went full anger without ever having to reference Tropic Thunder.
Well, I mean, like that's what wins awards, okay? Yeah. Not in Ben Stiller's case.
It did win him an award.
He got his later. Not off of that the other performance, though. Not off the Simple Jack performance. Let's move on.
Okay. Did you say Dark Horse? Which was Dark Horse?
We shouldn't be doing this, but I just love Clive so much. I'm putting him there.
Okay.
Putting him there. I love Clive.
Best score and music. We've got 5 nominees here. So let's see. We've got Alan Wake 2, composer Petri Alanko. Baldur's Gate 3, composer Borislav Slavov. Great name. Number 3 for Final Fantasy, composer Masayoshi Soken. Hi-Fi Rush, audio director Shuichi Kabori. And then The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, composed by Nintendo Sound Team.
Great pronunciations, by the way. Those all sounded good.
Thank you. Here, who do we predict is going to get best score and music?
I think it's Zelda. I haven't even played it, and Zelda always throws bangers out there. I still listen to Song of Storms and stuff.
They do, but like from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, they are very subtle now. Like it's not these, like they let the world kind of like speak for itself in a vast majority of that game. Like they do have their times where it like swells up and you feel something, but they're very few and far between in their open world Zelda. So I don't think they'll win it. But obviously it's Zelda, so Zelda's always in the running to win the award, for sure. But for me, I think Final Fantasy 16 will take this one.
Really?
They have epic music throughout, and it really does make you feel the emotion they want you to feel. And it's varied, it gets quite varied towards the end of the game, midway through the game. Like, you're gonna hear it very soon, Jeremy. Varied.
Here's what we're doing predictions.
Right.
If I can respond to that a bit.
Yes.
I thought it would be some of the other options because I've played Final Fantasy 16. And I think that the music in some places makes no sense.
Really?
Like when I'm at the Hideaway, why am I hearing elevator music?
Oh, yeah. It's classic Final Fantasy, man. That's what happens.
It's elevator music.
Yeah, that's what they do.
The other music when you're out in the world and you're doing missions, you're right. It's emotive, it's epic, it's grand. You can feel it's a surge of momentum. And then I go back to my Hideaway and I feel like I'm on hold with customer service. I don't know why the music is the way it is there.
Well, elevator music is, you're just sitting there, just waiting until you're ready to move on. And if you're at your Hideaway,
it's good.
Just,
listen, Final Fantasy 16 has a great battle theme. There's a lot of battles in there, and I did not get sick of that battle theme, not for 1 second. It has a great battle theme. When you get to the Mother Crystals, man, the music when you get to the Mother Crystals was just like epic. And then the boss fights, epic music. So I got to go Final Fantasy 16. My dark horse, Hi-Fi Rush is literally all about the music. I haven't played it. I don't know if it's good. So I'm going to go with Baldur's Gate 3 as my dark horse.
I'm going to say that the best score in music will go to Alan Wake 2.
Really?
And my dark horse is Hi-Fi Rush.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because it is a music game.
Right.
But also, again, I'm playing a little bit inside baseball. I don't think any game associated with Xbox wins any awards at this game awards, except this game. I think this is the game. I think this is the game they give them. We'll give you best music for Hi-Fi Rush because it's a music game. We'll give you that.
David, do you have a dark horse?
I mean, I can see it being Alan Wake because I've only played for 2.5 hours, but the music is done well. It's eerie. Most of it needs to be eerie, and they do a pretty good job at that. And it's not just like weird kind of like scary noises. It's nice, creepy like music.
I'm gonna have to pay better attention. I have not noticed the music for 1 second. Not 1 second did I.
Because you've been scared, man. You've been too scared.
I have been scared.
Yeah,
it's like scared.
It's also kind of like background.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
But my thinking is also this game is nominated in so many genres that the music is more than likely is that little hidden element that's probably elevating it in some way. That's my guess. Let's see here. We are moving on to best art direction. We have got a few more categories left. The best art direction. They say it's for outstanding creative and or technical achievement in artistic design and animation. For this, we have Alan Wake 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Lies of P, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
Love this topic. Love this one.
This is kind of...
And it's tough. It's tough.
Diverse.
This goes to Alan Wake 2, does it not?
Really?
Well, what was the first Alan Wake?
Alan Wake 2,
since I didn't play it.
I would think would be 5 on this list.
You think so?
I mean, like, it's graphically amazing, right? Which I guess is definitely part of the art direction. But there's nothing too much in there where I'm like, wow, this is... I don't know. I guess when I'm looking at art direction, I'm looking for... I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's a game.
Right. Now, assumed prediction for me would be Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. But the caveat to that is that they've pretty much built that on Breath of the Wild.
Right.
So I could see someone being, well, how much work did you do? From an art direction standpoint to bring now what you brought before, because you basically you had the foundation there. You just kind of just punched it up maybe a little bit, and that's pretty much what it is. I can see kind of the thought process behind maybe not giving it to Tears of the Kingdom.
I mean, my initial thought went to Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
Yeah.
It's super beautiful. It's a beautiful game. It's colorful. It's the worlds that they put together just look really unique and fun and fresh. And Hi-Fi Rush, we've seen that. That's the cell shading aspect, which I think if you're cell shaded and it looks good, you always have kind of like a notch above other games in terms of this category.
Yeah.
But I'm actually going to go with Lies of P. I think it's going to win. I think art direction is also about, like, I don't know if it, like, the theme of the game. Like I said, the Pinocchio and, like, kind of like the industrial London. All that stuff is, and like, it's a lot of machinery. All that stuff is very interesting to look at. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say Lies of P wins it. And my dark horse is Super Mario Wonder, because that's probably what's going to win it.
Okay.
So my question is, what was Alan Wake? What kind of game was that? Was that a horror as well?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, psychological horror, I'd say.
And what? Okay. I kind of actually have to go with Wonder on this.
Okay.
With Hi-Fi being my dark horse.
Okay.
I think those are good choices.
Yeah.
You said Alan Wake 2 for you, Jeremy, and then Tears of the Kingdom is Dark Horse.
I think Alan Wake 2, and then probably Dark Horse is probably Liza P.
Okay. Yeah, Alan Wake 2, it looks good. I just don't think it looks so much incredibly better than any other game. Like, I feel like to win that based on like straight graphics, you got to be like so much better. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm an Alan Wake 2 hater. I feel like I kind of am after my
Maybe.
talk about it earlier. And then
Quite possibly, yeah.
Uh,
All right, we're going for best narrative, outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game. We've got Alan Wake 2, it's back there. Baldur's
no
Gate 3,
chance.
of course. Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty, Final Fantasy 16, and Marvel's Spider-Man 2.
Yeah. Good list as we've been saying. As a Spider-Man fan, I think Marvel Spider-Man 2 would win it if the voters are all Spider-Man's fans, because it's one of the best Spider-Man stories told, but it won't win it. This is just another Baldur's Gate. Another Baldur's Gate. It's hard to tell. Do they base narrative based on the decisions that you can make?
See, this is why I think Baldur's Gate might not. I think there's too many variables.
Right.
And I think they maybe value just straight up narrative more. I think it comes down to between Alan Wake 2 and Final Fantasy 16.
That's
okay.
What I was on the fence of too.
And if I had to give the nudge who I think is the favorite, I think it's going to be Final Fantasy 16, because Final Fantasy 16 feels like the most of the pivot or a change and how they narratively tell Final Fantasy games. If I'm correct, Final Fantasy 16 is like the first mature rated Final Fantasy, right?
Yeah.
I think they look at that and they're saying this feels different. This feels Games of Thronesy, right? That might get the nod over Alan Wake 2, but they love their psychological horror, right? And Remedy, that's their thing. Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty, I'm not going to give that to a DLC. I'm just not. But I guess I get it,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I feel like Alan Wake 2 could win it. I mean, so far the story has been, really good, and they do a good job at it. As we saw earlier, one of the main characters was put in for best performance, and you don't get put there and then not have it'd be for best narrative.
That's true. That's true.
So I think Dark Horse could be,
but literally everyone else on the performance also made best narrative.
Exactly. So
100%.
It's only these
100%.
Right.
It's a good point.
100%. Yeah.
So
good
it's
point.
Like a wash. It's like a wash.
It is a wash.
Everyone on the performance made narrative as well.
She was the only one I remembered because it's the only game I've played. But well said. You're right. You are right.
All right. So this is going to sound like a super backhanded compliment, but I have no clue why Alan Wake so far is game of the year. It has to be because of the story. So I'm going to say Alan Wake 2 wins best narrative. And I just haven't played long enough to understand the story to its full effects. But I do know the gameplay and stuff, and it has to be because of the great story that it's up here.
Twists and stuff.
And also,
what?
Also the pedigree, like Remedy usually makes really good narratives for their games.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I have no doubt that it's great.
You said Alan Wake was in the Control DLC.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So they made Control then.
Yep.
And that was a really good game.
Yeah, and they made Quantum Break, which Jeremy, that feels like a Jeremy game that you would have played.
Did not play.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. David, you never played that one either, right?
I can see why. I didn't know.
But I think they're all connected, right? I think the whole universe is connected.
I was just about to say the main character of that is in Alan Wake 2. You've actually seen him, David, but you just don't know who he is. He's the guy from the X-Men who plays Iceman. He was the chief of police. He's the chief of police.
Got it.
Yeah. and that's the guy from Quantum Break. So yeah, I think Alan Wake 2 is definitely the winner, followed by Baldur's Gate 3 is my dark horse. I'm not really sure how they're going to handle the making of choices. So
yeah, I mean, for the same reason, I would say maybe not Baldur's Gate is the same reason I would say not Skyrim or something like that. Like just so many variables.
Right.
But I mean, it's a possibility. Again, people loved it. And
it's like the story that you tell yourself, like the
100%.
story that you make yourself. So, and not everyone's going
Right.
to have the same.
It's definitely a double-edged, it's one way or the other.
Yeah. Alrighty, well, that brings us to, and there's more likely going to be games you already heard before. Is it? Yeah, it's going to be games you heard before, except for one. For Game of the Year. So there's 6 candidates for Game of the Year, curiously enough, because there's been 5 for almost every other one. Those games are Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Alrighty here. So predictions for this.
David, come on. You want to predict
Listen.
Predict
Should a remake
it, David.
really win?
That's not nice to call Tears of the Kingdom a remake. All right. It tried. It's changed a few things.
You know. But I mean, there's a high chance it won PS5 Game of the Year.
Yeah.
Is that what you're predicting then?
I have to go with it.
You're going Resident Evil 4. Wow, you're really. We said no biases here.
I know. I'm not though. I didn't even finish it. I played it for 2 or 3 hours and just haven't gone back. Yeah, the graphics are really good.
That might be the craziest pick we've had today on the last one. Wow.
I know.
Yeah.
But then
predictions.
Dark Horse probably Baldur's Gate.
Corey, you want to give? I can give a predict. I can give my.
Yeah, no, yeah, either one. I'm just looking at the list.
Yeah. I think. I don't think I chose it for really any other category. Are they going to not give it to Zelda? Are you going to tell me that they have a Zelda within their grasp to give Game of the Year to, and they're not going to give it to it?
I mean, you got to go with what you got to go with, Jeremy. I mean, what are you saying here?
I'm predicting that. Yeah, I'm predicting that they're going to go with Zelda.
Really?
Yeah, I think they're going to go Zelda. With my dark horse being Baldur's Gate 3.
Okay. Wow. Two Baldur's Gate 3 dark horses. Incredible. Wow. Okay. Yeah, actually, I'm going to eliminate games. First off, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, no shot at winning this at all. Followed very closely by Resident Evil 4. David, you had it. You're almost there. They're not going to give it to a remake, no matter how good it was. Marvel Spider-Man 2, great game. Definitely not going to win this award. So you're looking at Alan Wake 2, the psychological horror, which, if we compare it to movies, those movies always do really, really well. So like video games like this do really, really well. But that's going to come in third. My dark horse is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I can't believe that this amazing game is not going to win the award, because Baldur's Gate 3 is going to win it. It's much more niche than Tears of the Kingdom is, but I think it had such a huge positive reception that it's going to win, man. It's one of the best RPGs ever made. It's countless hours of decisions and adventuring and just kind of doing what you want. And Tears of the Kingdom's a little bit like that too, but Baldur's Gate 3 is just it's fresher. We just had we didn't just have it, but Breath of the Wild. You said it, Jeremy. They're pretty
Here's
similar.
my counter. Here's my counter though, right? Mm-hmm. Baldur's Gate up until very recently, mostly kind of a PC experience, right? This is the last Zelda that is going to be on the original Nintendo Switch, right? Yeah. This is probably the last Zelda we get for another 4, 5, 6 years, right? And Baldur's Gate 3 is probably going to be around for 10, 12 years, because that's usually how those games work.
I just don't see any way they don't give it to Baldur's Gate 3. I mean, I guess I can see a way because Zelda's right there, but
yeah,
it was such a huge, just everyone loved it. Everyone loved it.
But how
I didn't love it so much.
You've played both though, right?
Yeah.
So you've played both. Which one would you say is more accessible?
Zelda. Yeah, for sure, Zelda.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you.
But I mean, if we were going based off that, we would say Wonder, Mario Bros. Wonder. That's the most accessible.
Yeah, but Mario games are rarely Game of the Year quality.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just Tears of the Kingdom. Like I said, I rate it higher than Baldur's Gate 3 as of right now. I haven't gone back to BG3, so it's tough. But yeah, I think I don't know. It just feels like people want Baldur's Gate 3 to win it.
It feels, it does feel like that's both games feel like this feels like the close kind of most up in the air, because either they're going to give it to Zelda because it's Zelda, right?
Right.
Or Baldur's Gate 3 because it is the darling that no one really expected and then was just unbelievable, right?
Right.
Alan Wake 2, I feel like they're going to try to avoid that because I think it's recency bias. And then Marvel Spider-Man 2, they're probably not going to give it to an IP like that, even if it deserves it or not, RE4 should probably get more considered, but RE4 is also going up against Alan Wake 2. And
RE4 came out so early in the year.
It did.
It's very hard to keep that momentum throughout the year. Like Tears of the Kingdom, I mean, that came out in May, and that still feels like a lifetime ago. Like I think RE4 came out in March.
Yeah.
It's just tough. There's so much to this. It's got to be timing. It can't be so close to the awards where not enough people have been able to play the game, but it has to be close enough where people are like still excited about the game.
100%. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, that's it for predictions.
Yeah.
We'll see how it shakes out December 7th. See what happens here. It's going to, I mean, obviously we can get it. How do we feel about as we put in a button on this, we've made our predictions. What's our general feeling on the list, just really quickly? I mean, we've
just
talked
the game
list
of the year
before.
one?
Yeah, or maybe just, the 9 we've gone through the general sentiment, because we did a brief overview of a lot of the categories just to see what they have. What do we feel about this list in general? I had said for myself that it feels like it's lacking diversity. I don't mean like racial, ethnic diversity. I just mean like
Idris
diversity.
Elba is on there.
I just mean like diversity of game genres.
Yeah,
they went crazy this year. I think I saw a couple of black people featured on this list. They went wild. Go ahead.
There's
David.
a black guy. There's a black guy.
A black woman.
Yeah.
Black guy, black girl, woman.
But no, I mean, you're right. There's all these categories, and we've said it time and time again. Like, there were so many games this year.
Yeah.
And it's the same 15.
Yeah.
In every category, one way or another, in some shape or form.
Yeah.
You're right.
I mean, like I said, I think I tried to like counter you a little bit. Like, I feel like every year is kind of like that. The best games get nominated for every award because they're the best games. And typically the best games are adventure or action games that tell a narrative. Those are the games that they kind of have everything in them, and they kind of like hit the most people. So as for the list in general, I think it's a pretty good list. I think what you have for Game of the Year is 2 of all-time great type games that are going to be looked at like 10 years from now. Mm-hmm. There's a few previous winners where you're like, okay, hey, it won this year, but you're not really going to think about it. But yeah, Tears of the Kingdom and Baldur's Gate 3 feel like cream of the crop, top of the list. Just they're the best. And the other 4 are good games. I played all of them. So I really enjoy Marvel Spider-Man 2 and the other ones for sure as well. But yeah, it feels like a good list. Felt like a good year. I do understand what you're saying. A little bit more variety would have been nice. But
yeah, I mean, like there's some sprinkled in and out. Like one of the things we mentioned was like best RPG, right? So like,
yeah,
Starfield is there. Baldur's Gate 3 is there. But then one game that actually was pretty big this year was Diablo 4, and it's not there.
Yeah, like we said, I don't think it made one category.
Yeah,
did it?
Like, it's very interesting. It's
like, I don't think that's wrong, because I really didn't like Diablo 4. So
but I mean, it was big.
right.
Like, I think
we
it
are
was
we
it
are
was the
looking for
biggest
the
RPG before Baldur's Gate 3 stole its thunder.
but we are looking for the best. And I know there's some sus picks on here. You mentioned
Yeah.
City Skylines for sim and strategy, and
Yeah, when the game like doesn't work. Like, yeah,
Right.
it's kind of weird. By the way, Company Heroes 3, you should take that. But yeah, so that's the Game Awards. It's not as jank as IGN's list that we did for something, I think like top 100 games or whatever.
okay.
But it is what it is. That's a topic. We're done talking topics. It's time to do some game timing. So, game timing. What game we playing here?
Now here's the deal, guys. I was gonna do Family Feud, Gamer League Grood,
Okay.
but I feel like I've done this one already. I feel like I've done this.
Okay.
I just have no creativity. Have I done Game of the Years for previous years? I have done that, right?
No.
Yes.
I definitely feel like I have. Yes, I know I did. Like I was
Yeah.
trying to think. Like
You did?
yeah, I remember you guys going back and forth a little bit on it. So I'm going to go with Legally Guessing, a game that I was going to do the last time I wanted to do it. So
Okay.
we are doing Legally Guessing. And if you don't know what this game is, these guys get 20 guesses, yes or no guesses, and then a game that they can pick to try to figure out what it is. So I have the game in hand. Whenever you are ready, gentlemen, begin asking your questions.
Okay. Is this game an action or adventure or fighting game?
Oh God. I would say no. It's definitely not. But if at the end of the day you might say it's not, I'm gonna say no. No, I'm not gonna. It's no. It fits in a different genre for sure.
Okay.
So it's not action, adventure, or fighting?
Right.
Okay. Is it on one set of console?
That's a weird way to phrase. No.
Like, is it only on any of the PlayStations? Is it only
Right.
on
Is it a
the
platform exclusive?
Xboxes?
You guys are gonna hate me at the end of this, but no, it's not.
Okay.
But you guys are gonna hate me at the end of it for those first two questions.
Did this game come out between the years of 2010 and 2023?
No.
Okay.
It's an older game.
Older game. Did this game come out between the years of 2000 and 2010?
No.
Oh God,
It's an older game.
this is terrible. Already.
Oh shoot! How many questions is that? 5 maybe?
Well, we have.
I think that's 5.
Okay.
Is it a genre game? Is it a game that's only on one
Genre.
console? Year?
The year, and then the
year.
year.
And the year. Okay, so you've done 5 questions.
Okay.
So that was
it's
only the
a-
year twice.
I did 2 different time range. Yeah, two
Yeah.
different
Okay,
ones.
so you're on question 5.
We're
You've done
on
4
question
then.
5.
Yeah.
Yes. Trying to cheat us out.
I apologize.
So this is a game.
Okay,
older.
so it's
before the
older
year?
than 2000.
Yeah.
It's on multiple devices.
Yes. And it's not an
not
action or adventure or fighting
fighting.
game. This is going to be some nerdy freaking game.
So
Okay.
it's not
I can already
Pokemon.
tell.
You say it's not Pokemon?
Yeah. 'Cause it's only
Pokemon's
on one
not-
console.
I mean, that's where you get that. No, just Pokemon, whichever one you're talking about, is definitely not only on one console. And that's where that question's kind of weird.
Okay, so then
I'm just saying.
Well, I
Like,
think
Jeremy,
is it only
Jeremy.
on one platform?
Well, no, but like, yeah, no, it's not. But you're gonna hate me for it. But go on.
what?
You'll figure it out. Once I say the game, you'll figure it out. Okay, you'll figure
Well,
out.
obviously, because when you say the game, we'll figure it out. That's how it works. You're supposed to figure out before you say the game.
You'll figure out why I said it's not
Okay.
just on one platform.
Okay. Is this game a racing game or platformer?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're dealing with 2000 and earlier, racer or platformer.
That is and isn't maybe on one thing.
Yeah. Well, no, it isn't. It is not.
So multiples. It's on multiples. It's on multiples.
Yeah, but I feel like he's saying he's gonna hate us because it's on a Nintendo console, but also on like Game Boy Advanced.
It's gonna be the thing of, right, it's on Game Boy, but it's also on Game Boy Color. But we're saying platform. That would still be the Nintendo platform.
For one, you did not ask platform.
Okay.
If you want to ask it, you can go ahead and ask it. If you want to crown them, crown their butts. All right. I have no energy behind this right now. I'm on E. All right. Like,
So then,
dude, me too.
So then, okay. So is this game on one platform?
Guess what? No, it's not. So in your face.
Okay.
But you're still gonna be angry when you hear the game, okay? But just know it's not on one platform, and it's not my fault.
Okay.
Not like you made the game.
What's the question? So yeah. So okay, we've got racing or platform. Should we narrow that down?
I think we should.
Okay. Is this game a platformer?
Yes.
Okay, it's a platformer. Alrighty.
Early platformer.
Early platformer. Was this game developed by Rare?
No.
Okay, so that takes away the Banjo-Kazooie stuff.
It's a bit, doesn't it? Wasn't Rare popping back in the day?
That was Rare's heyday.
What's popping?
Let's see here. Okay, so maybe he should. I'm gonna ask another time question if that works.
Sure.
I mean, who you asking?
Did the game come out between the years 1990 and 2000?
Hey, there we go. Yes, that's
okay. Okay, we got 10 years. So what's 1990 and 2000? That's
PlayStation,
Nintendo
2, PlayStation, Nintendo GameCube. Maybe
90 to 2000. I feel like that's like PS. I feel like that's like PlayStation 1.
See, the problem is I ran away from my dad's in like 2003.
Jeez.
Okay.
So that's why I'm trying to like that's the stuff I played back then.
100%. I got you.
But I mean, yeah, that's also a couple years out of range where I might not.
I mean, should we say
correctly.
something? Should we console this guy or something?
Where he's deducing. This is what he's doing. He's
Did
deducing.
you hear how he had to deduce it? Like, I feel like we should say something as
Hey,
friends. Like, are you okay, David?
What?
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. My dad just really liked children.
Oh my God, we can't put this in the episode.
It's going to be in there because we're playing Legally Guessin, okay? And I just chopped it up to deduce, and you wanted to inquire.
You asked, buddy.
I was trying to make him feel. I don't know, man.
So let's see here. We've got it's like PlayStation. It's maybe Dreamcast, but maybe not
Xbox.
Really. Xbox. Wait, original Xbox. No, original Xbox was like 2000, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm thinking like PlayStation, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, maybe. Right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Let's see here. So what would be multi-platform for those? Is the a multi-platform platformer in the 90s? Is the
they were all like really competing back then.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what could be a multi-platform platformer in the 90s. Is it okay? So, do you control a human or an animal? I mean, hold on? Do you control a human? I'm sorry. Let me rephrase the question. Do you control a human?
No, that's 10.
Okay, so you don't control a human, but you could possibly control an animal or a humanoid. Let's see here. It's a platformer. Oh man, I hate it.
I don't know many platformers. That's the problem.
If you guys get a few more questions, I'm gonna have to give you a little hint because I feel like you're based on one of your questions, you're very far off base. Like you're getting there, but you're thinking something completely different. So just if you ask a few more questions, I'm gonna clarify something.
Okay. Is the game part of a franchise? Yeah. It's a game part of a franchise or series.
Yes.
Okay. It's a part of a franchise or series.
Is Metal Gear a platformer?
I wouldn't say no. It's a platformer. I would think of something like a Mario. I would think of something like a Sonic.
See, that's what I was thinking, but
Those
like
are
I
all
don't see
single
one being on
platforms, though,
different.
right?
Exactly.
What was one? Gex? Was that one?
Ooh, I remember. Yeah, Gex. That was on PlayStation. Then I remember. I don't know if it was on something else.
Yeah. Gex is one. I don't think. What is it? What's it? Jackson.
Jak and Daxter.
Yeah.
That was just on PlayStation. That was Naughty
Okay.
Dog.
Okay.
For once, I know somebody who made a game.
What's the name of that fox? What is that? Or it's not. That's no Sly Cooper, right? That was
Sly
like
Cooper, also PlayStation.
also just PlayStation.
I believe so.
Okay. Do you
That's what I had it on.
Do you control an animal?
Yes.
Okay, so it is an animal. It's not a human.
What about Crash? Was that just PlayStation until recently?
I feel like that might have been just PlayStation. How many questions we got left?
You have 8 questions and a guess.
8 questions and a guess. Okay. So we've named some. We can try to whittle down. Do you want to like?
What do you mean? Like, is it on?
Like something like is it a band? Like is it a bandicoot? Or something. I
don't know. There's a lot of animals to guess.
100%. Yeah.
Is it a rhino?
Yeah, I don't.
What about Rampage? Is that you just
run
around? You're jumping on buildings.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say that's a platformer.
I think that was on like the N64 too and PlayStation, I think.
Right. Does this franchise have any kind of kart game or spin-off in its franchise?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow, what a good question. How many of those are that's like,
okay.
Wow, what a good question.
What about South Park?
No. Hold on. Let me see here.
Let Jeremy cook.
Let me see here.
He is good cook.
I'm gonna go back to the one question I thought we should ask. Does this game have a bandicoot in it?
No.
God, okay.
That's 14.
You overcooked it.
I overcooked it.
Overcooked.
But if it's a kart, it's got to be a whatchamacallit, right? It's got to be a Mario. By the way, he was being weird with the whole you're saying it's on one thing and it's one thing, and I asked a platform later that kind of clarified, but not really. He's got to be throwing, it's like Double Dragon Battletoads, right? There's a little something in the ether he's not putting out there.
It's an oversight by you guys, honestly.
It's an oversight.
The question you asked left room for interpretation, and I interpreted it. And you guys took it a certain way, okay?
So let's see here. So it's not Crash Bandicoot, but it is a platformer that has a kart game as part of a spin-off or part of the franchise.
Right. So let's narrow that down. It's either Crash Bandicoot, which is not.
It's not.
It's Mario. It's Sonic.
Right.
It could be a mix of like, because there's all-star racing and stuff, you know.
Right, but how many of those in the 90s? Right.
Yeah, but we're trying to figure out the game. It doesn't matter when the racing game came out.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, yeah. That's true. I mean, do we ask if it's Mario? Do we just ask?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Is the franchise either in the Super Mario or Sonic universe?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Okay, yeah.
15. Yeah, 15 questions. You got 5 left and a guess.
Five left and a guess. We're gonna get
You guys
this.
are gonna hate me. You guys are gonna hate me.
We're
if
gonna
you
get
don't
this.
This is go on.
Okay, this game came out in between the 90s and 2000s. And it's either Mario or Sonic.
Yeah.
It's either Mario or Sonic.
Do you want to narrow it down?
Okay. Is this a Mario game?
No.
Okay.
That's 16.
Okay.
Excuse me.
So, what kind of Sonic game?
It's platform. It's pretty much
Well,
all
it's pretty
the
much
Sonics,
all of
though.
them, right? Yeah.
So do you want to ask if it has a number in the name? Because that either gives us one of the set 3 or like the offset like 5 or 6.
Right. So which ones have numbers in them?
Sonic 1, 2, and 3.
Okay. Does this Sonic game have a 1 or 2 or 3 in the title, or commonly referred to with numbers?
Yes. Where'd these balloons come from? Where did these balloons come
That
from?
was good timing.
Yeah, it was.
Hooray!
So it's Sonic. It's one of the number Sonics then.
How many questions do we have left?
You have
4,
3.
right? 3?
You have
Okay.
3 and a guess. You have 3 and a guess.
Okay.
So it's over. It's over.
It's over. We did get there.
Just don't blow it. I don't think there's a way for you to blow it.
So do we just go by individual number
Yeah,
then?
Does
That's
this game
lame.
have the number 2 in it?
This game does have the number 2 in it.
Okay. There we go.
Okay, we'd like to
You
make a guess.
did most of the guessing, so you can have it.
Is this game Sonic the Hedgehog 2?
Yes, it would be. Yeah.
Yeah.
So where's this
Yeah.
conundrum of?
Well, so what you guys
but
did?
it isn't.
I mean, it definitely is. I've said it is, but not the way that you would think when you're trying to figure out the game. Sonic 2's been ported to a ton of stuff. So it's on PlayStation, it's on Xbox, it's on Sonic the Hedgehog 2 specifically is on like the Switch, it's on everything. But if you're trying to figure out the game originally, you would never think of that. You would think of a multi-platform game. So that's where you guys were confusing yourselves. Like, I think for that question, you should have been like, did it originally start on just one platform? That might have been a better way to ask it, because like, what am I supposed to do with those other games? Because it did come out on.
Right.
And that's why I was saying like the Pokemon thing, like say take Pokemon Red, for instance. Like Jeremy played it on his Wii U, right?
I did.
So that came out on multiple
My
systems.
2DS.
Still,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was only on one platform still, but that one was multiple systems. But
Right.
you wouldn't think about that when you were trying to guess Pokemon Red. So that's the
Right.
only confusing part.
Okay,
And
that makes
also-
sense. That's a good
also-
learning experience.
Sonic's definitely a platformer, but like you could think adventure type game. You could think that, especially for a game back in that day, or even like an action game, because of how fast it is. So a lot of tough little points to that. But you guys nailed it. You took the long road there, but you got it.
The scenic route, they call it. Yeah, the scenic route. We took the scenic route.
We took the Sonic route.
Hey.
It's actually a pretty decent pun by you.
That was a very good pun.
We've reached the end of the podcast, which means we have final thoughts. We make a final thought about something that can be related or unrelated to the podcast episode. So who would like to give their final thought first?
My final thought is I'm having a lot of fun with Pokemon Go, but I really hate that I want to catch all perfects and you rarely ever get those. And it's annoying every time you check the stats and it's not a perfect. But it's
Sorry to hear
totally
that.
you have to it has to be part of the game. If every Pokemon you caught was perfect, it'd be boring. So it's thrilling yet upsetting all at the same time.
So what makes a Pokemon perfect?
So they have 3 stats. They have attack, defense, and HP. And it can go from 0 to 15.
Mm-hmm.
If all 3 stats have 15 points, then it's a perfect.
Gotcha.
So it can also, it's rated 0 stars to 3 stars. But if it's perfect, it's 3 stars, but also the circle that the stats are in is pink instead of yellow. So people call it either a perfect 3-star or a 4-star.
Okay.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
I need more of those.
Okay, I guess I can go next.
Sure.
I guess I would be looking for, this is a call for recommendations, possibly, I guess. I've been really into the Cthulhu mythos. I don't know if either of you two know anything about Cthulhu or Lovecraftian stuff in general. It's like cosmic horror.
Mm-hmm.
I got a board game on it, and I'm like, this is
I think I saw
interesting.
you looking for an expansion or something the other day.
What do you mean in my house, looking through my windows? What do you mean?
On like Facebook. I think you posted it in a group or something.
Oh, you can
You
just
said
see
I already
stuff?
have the base game.
You can just see that stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens
Embarrassing.
sometimes. Yeah.
What the heck? Yeah, okay, so I've been into the Cthulhu sort of stuff. So like anything, like if any listeners out there are into it, like books, graphic novels, movies, the best movies. I see on the PlayStation Black Friday sale there is The Sinking City, which I know is Lovecraftian, and that's like $9. So I might pick that up for when I'm done with this big plethora of games that I'm playing right now. Once I'm like kind of caught up a little bit, I think that would be kind of a cool game to jump into. So if anyone has recommendations on that kind of like I said, Cthulhu, Lovecraftian type stuff, I'll take it. And if anyone has the expansion to that game, I'm looking for it. I posted it in a group. So
that's great.
My final thought is that another game I had recently started playing again was Mountain Blade Bannerlord 2.
Nice.
And just give a shout out to the jank is still there, but it still captures you. Every time you fire up, you're like, I want to be a warrior that grows an army and rules the world. And I think they recently just allowed it so that you can actually kill off factions. You used to couldn't kill off factions.
That's cool.
And that was annoying, right? Because you conquer everyone and then they somehow still raise an army of 5,000 people to invade you. Like you don't have cities, you don't have towns. So they fixed that. But yeah. So my final thought, which leads us to the end of level 88 of the Thoughts and Players podcast. If you like what you heard, please subscribe to the podcast on your preferred podcast service. We are on the Apples and the Googles and the Spotifys and the other stuffs. You can also follow us on the socials. We are on Facebook. We are on Twitter at ThoughtsPlayer2. We are on Instagram at Thoughts.Players, on TikTok, and of course on YouTube, where we upload video versions of the podcast. And if you want to support the podcast, you want to support your boys, 2 ways you can do so. Merch. Check us out at the spring store. Pick yourself up a nice mug for the winter, for the fall season, some hot chocolate. Maybe perhaps you're pouring some hot chocolate or drinking some hot chocolate out of a Black Guys Woman mug. Maybe that's something you do.
No, it is.
That says something about you, but maybe it's something you do. Or maybe you get yourself some stickers, whatever it is. You want to support us there. You can also support us on Patreon, where we post exclusives for patrons. We have 3 tiers, a $2, $5, and $7 tier. You can check those out. Again, exclusive content, reviews that go out before they go out on YouTube or anything like that. So be sure to check that out. Working on a couple reviews right now. The big one is Starfield. That's going to take a little bit of time, but hoping to get that out before the end of the year. And then some smaller ones as well. Yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Fellas, is there anything else you want to say?
Good night.
Dang it. I'm tired. Good night.
I'm tired.
Look, you say peace. You always say peace.
I do. I went like this and then said good night.
There you go.
I sound like a tool because I copied you twice. Oh, my God.
Well, on that note, thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next level.